What's going on, YouTube? The default SUV of choice for many people is either the Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V, selling around 1 million units in the US annually. These models also sell around 50% in hybrid form, which is why two of the up-and-coming rivals are going hybrid this year. This is the new Subaru Forester hybrid and the new Mazda CX-50 hybrid. And you might be surprised to learn that both of them borrow from Toyota's expertise to deliver these high MPG variants. So for those wanting to deviate from the defaults, which of these new compact SUVs is the better pick? Well, let's find out right now. Before we get into what's similar and different between these two, let's first set things up with the pricing breakdown. Starting with the CX-50, we have the new hybrid model in its top trim known as the Premium Plus. All told, it's a little over 42 grand. Moving to the Forester, it also adds the new hybrid option for 2025. In its top trim level, Touring, it comes in a little bit more expensive at a grand total of $43,610. By the way, if you want to get the best price from local dealerships and access to invoice pricing info for these two models or any vehicle, we have a tool on our website to do just that. It's great for shopping. It makes dealers compete on pricing, so be sure to check the link in the description for more info. If you're new to our comparisons, we conduct them objectively. We've done our best to weigh the points awarded throughout in major and minor categories, and towards the end, we'll go over reliability and resale value information. Let's go ahead and get started. Starting with the exteriors, these two SUVs have a more rugged edge to them than your average RAV4 or CR-V. Both vehicles feature darkened grilles and full LED lighting with projector beam headlights up front. The Subarus are adaptive, and it also includes fog lights. Continuing to the sides, you'll find the CX-50 is about 2 inches longer than the Forester, but you might be surprised at which one has more space on the inside later on in this comparison. In the meantime, at the wheels, both have 19-inch alloys and thick cladding for the segment on the wheel arches. The Forester Hybrid gains a new two-tone roof option, which is something that you cannot add to the CX-50. As we head for the back, let's compare the feature differences. Both have exposed wipers, spoilers, and 1 or 2 exposed exhaust tips. However, the Mazda has the advantage for rear lighting, with every single element of the taillight cluster being LED. Hybrid towing capacities are both 1,500 pounds. As far as the mirrors are concerned, they both have blind spot monitoring, heating, and LED turn signals. And the Mazda also adds in power folding. And speaking of blind spot monitoring, family SUVs need to be safe, and one of the really nice things about these two is that all 4 of your major active safety systems are included as standard equipment on all trims. If you're frequently backing into things, both fully loaded models here also include rear auto braking. Lastly, for the outside, both have the same warranty coverage and no complimentary maintenance. This is shaping up to be a tight race, so let's get into the interiors. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars.
approaching both SUVs, they have smart entry systems and their brand's respective key fobs. Both models have app-based remote start, free during the trial period. After opening the doors, you'll see these two closely follow the design themes that each brand is known for. There are some nice touches as well, but before we get into those luxuries and features, let's talk about the seats. They match each other in this area, both having 10-way power seats with lumbar support, finished in real leather with memory. Both models also have seat heating and ventilation for extra comfort. Now once inside the cabins, let's check out the major point category of material quality. Like many Mazdas, they've put a lot of focus into delivering a luxurious experience, with high-end materials, padded areas, and stitched leatherette throughout. The Forester also has plenty of soft touch materials around the cabin, but it doesn't feel quite as plush as the Mazda. After startup, we have some pros and cons depending on what you find important from the gauge area. The Forester Hybrid introduces a new 12.3-inch digital and customizable gauge cluster, while the Mazda has a smaller 7-inch display with limited customizability. However, when you look at the windshields, you'll notice that these fully loaded models only include a head-up display on the Mazda. Moving back, they have leather-wrapped steering wheels and even rain-sensing wipers. Oddly enough, the hybrid CX-50 cannot be had with a heated steering wheel, which is standard on the Forester Touring. Now it's time to evaluate another major interior section: storage. One of Mazda's weaknesses has long been interior space, and that applies to this model as well when compared to the Forester. Its center console is smaller, as well as its other front cubbies. And that's not to mention the inconvenient placement of the CX-50's cup holders that impedes on the climate controls with large drinks. Despite the storage differences, both still have physical shifters. When in reverse, only the Forester includes a 360-degree camera system, since Mazda reserves that feature for only the even more expensive turbo model. Moving to the dual-zone climate controls, the CX-50 has traditional physical knobs and buttons, while the Subaru's controls mostly go into the touchscreen. Especially after startup, this results in lag and difficulty turning on things like the heated or ventilated seats. Both models have physical volume knobs though. Let's go ahead and listen to a sound sample. Despite the one-speaker deficit, the Harman Kardon in the Subaru has the more balanced and rich sound quality. People want a high level of technology in cars nowadays, so let's move on to the key element of the infotainment displays. As far as sizing, the CX-50 has a 10.25-inch setup versus an 11.6-inch one in the Subaru. And both have key features such as wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. But more important than the size difference is that the Mazda screen is mounted far away from the driver since it's intended to be navigated by the control knob behind the shifter. When using Mazda's interface, you cannot touch the screen, although you can strain to touch it when using wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. The Subaru's interface is far from perfect, but it is easier to use on the day-to-day. As we wrap up the front of the cabins, both have auto-dimming mirrors, but only the Subaru includes a camera mirror. And then up top, you'll find a large panoramic-style moonroof on both of them. Compact SUVs fit a wide range of lifestyles, including families with kids or people that often have other people in the back seats. So diving into this important area, let's talk about the space figures first. On paper, the measurements are very similar to one another, but visually, you can see that the Forester has the more accommodating space. Not just visually, but when we adjust the driver's seat to the same 5'8" driving position, and bust out the official Car Confections ruler, we see that the Forester delivers 2 inches more knee room. I also want to point out that the CX-50's back seats do not recline, unlike the Forester. Now that that's out of the way, they also have quite a few features. Both give you USB ports and rear vents, plus heated back seats for the Subi. For whatever reason, Mazda doesn't equip the hybrid models with heated back seats, even though they are on the turbo version of this same trim. Now let's see how much stuff you can bring along with you for the journey. Both have power tailgates, though only the Forester has hands-free kick to open. Once they open up, you'll find an interesting trend. The CX-50 hybrid outperforms the Forester behind the second row. But it's the Forester that has the approximately 20% advantage in maximum cargo capacity. Both models have convenient switches in the cargo area to fold the seats, but differences in the hybrid systems and packaging means that only the Mazda has a spare tire. That's it for the inside. So now let's take these hybrid systems out on the road to test them out. Like I said at the beginning, the auto industry is odd, and these two models actually have some shared components between their powertrains, since they both borrow from Toyota. But they don't borrow from their corporate partner the same amount. Mazda basically took the RAV4 Hybrid's powertrain and plugged it into the CX-50, while Subaru only uses a few shared components, opting for their own engine and all-wheel drive system. We will get into more details of that in a bit, but for now, know that the Mazda has about a 12% power advantage.
Alright, that was 60 miles an hour. So this has 219 horsepower again from a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine and 3 electric motors. Now we've been talking a lot about, the relationship here with Toyota, and I do want to point out that the engine itself is sourced from Toyota. It's not like a Skyactiv 4-cylinder engine, so it is Toyota's own 4-cylinder engine. Alright, and that was 60 miles per hour. So, let's kind of recap a little bit about what we discussed in terms of the powertrain situation in part 1 of the video. So, this of course is a hybrid system, but what's important about it, you have 14 more horsepower, so that's a big thing right from the start. This is a hybrid system that was kind of co-developed with Toyota. That being said, unlike Mazda's situation where they really just borrowed the RAV4 hybrid system, this is really a completely different thing. They've just used a select few components, but it is a Subaru through and through.
When it comes to the transmissions, both have eCVTs and all-wheel drive. But how the all-wheel drives are configured is what is interesting. The Forester, with its more off-road and rugged nature, was designed to keep Subaru's famous symmetrical all-wheel drive system. This is a mechanical, full-time all-wheel drive system, compared to the CX-50, which essentially operates as a front-wheel drive vehicle most of the time, but will kick in the rear electric motor to make all-wheel drive when needed. That, paired with the Forester's greater ground clearance, means that it is significantly more capable when going off the beaten path or in inclement weather.
Yeah, it certainly feels like plenty of power. And of course, the other element of the powertrain is the transmission. We might as well go on and get into that. This comes with an eCVT as opposed to the 6-speed automatic you get with the other two engine choices. As you probably noticed, as I accelerate, this has an eCVT, so a little bit different than the traditional CVT, but the overall performance will be, pretty much the same. As Mason already discussed, rivals such as the RAV4, which, as we said, shares some hybrid componentry with this model, have distinctly different all-wheel drive systems. That one does not have a mechanical connection like symmetrical all-wheel drive, so this gives you the full-time all-wheel drive capability.
You're probably also wondering how quiet the cabins are when cruising. Well, that's why here at Car Confections, we take a sound level reading of every vehicle we test out on our channel. Unfortunately, our test was taken in California for the Forester, so it can't be directly compared, but we do look forward to testing it back home in Kentucky soon.
57.5 is what we have settled in at. 56.2 or 55.9 was our lowest reading.
Now let's talk about the ride quality. This is where you see distinctly different priorities. The CX-50 has a very sporty suspension tune to help with driving dynamics when compared to the Forester. Because of that, you feel road imperfections and bumps more prominently in the CX-50. On the flip side, however, the CX-50 exhibits incredible handling. While Forester is not sloppy and is fine for the segment, it can't quite compete with the Mazda's athleticism and steering feel.
Alright, but now we are on the highway section, and I want to just go ahead and quickly discuss overall ride quality. Now, one of the things about the CX-50 is that it is a Mazda, so we were very curious as to if this hybrid version is going to change the overall feel. Does it still drive like a Mazda, etc., etc.? And I'm happy to tell you that it still does have that same Mazda characteristic. That does mean, however, when it comes to your ride quality, it's going to be definitely on the firmer side for this segment of vehicle. You're definitely going to feel a little bit more intrusion than you would in a RAV4 or other options such as the Honda CR-V. As we go over a bump, you'll definitely, feel a little bit of that inside of the cabin, which is not necessarily a bad thing for those of you looking for, a Mazda, of course. So how is the ride quality? Well, overall, we've been driving it around for several hours at this point, and we have been nothing but impressed with what Subaru has done with the ride quality. It feels very similar to the gasoline model that we've tested out multiple times at this point. They've done a great job of balancing ride as well as handling feel as well.
Lastly, let's talk about fuel economy. That's one area where both excel and will save you thousands at the pump compared to many other new vehicles. But the full-time all-wheel drive system hurts the Subaru's MPG performance compared to the Mazda, coming in at 35 MPG versus 38 MPG in the Mazda. In our reviews and comparisons, we are also adding in reliability and resale information to give you a better picture of the overall value beyond just the original MSRP. Beginning with reliability, we developed the Combined Reliability Index, which takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources on reliability and combines them in a way that gives you a more realistic picture. Here, they are both above average, but not to the same degree. Subaru ranks in 11 slots above the industry average, awarding it 1.1 points. Meanwhile, Mazda is slightly above average for reliability, by 2 slots to be exact, adding 0.2 points. We also put Mason's economics degree to work to develop a detailed predicted resale value tool. After 5 years or 60,000 miles, Subaru ranks in at the number 3 highest predicted resale value of any brand at 63.03%, and Mazda trails it closely at 59.4%. This gives the Subi a 0.3 point advantage according to our scale. Resale value is obviously important because it determines how much money you get back, but we can't forget about the price difference at the original purchase. The Forester cost $1,545 more than the CX-50, which adds 1 point. I want to emphasize that if money, reliability, or resale value matter less to you personally, feel free to disregard these points. And if you'd like to check out all our data about reliability and resale values, as well as learn about our methodology, make sure to head to carconfections.com/resale and /reliability. Buying a car is a big decision, and this is a great place to compare all the makes that you might be cross-shopping.
So there you have it, another fun comparison between a couple of compact crossovers for those who don't want exactly the same thing as all their neighbors. So let's talk a little bit about some pros and cons to pick out which one should be your personal winner based on what's most important to you. Now, you should pick the Mazda if you are concerned about having the best driving dynamics. It really handles quite excellently for the segment. Also, it does have a little bit more of a upscale vibe versus the Forester in the inside.
Now, on the flip side, the Forester should be your choice if you want that off-road ruggedness and capability. You do have symmetrical all-wheel drive, so that's certainly something worth pointing out. It is going to get worse fuel economy than the CX-50 with, its non-traditional all-wheel drive system, but that's just something to consider between the two. Additionally, it's going to have a few more features in its touring trim level as compared to the fully loaded hybrid CX-50, since for whatever reason they removed some features like heated back seats, and it has a better audio system and larger infotainment screen. But we want to know which one of these two you're taking down below. Are you taking the CX-50 hybrid, the Forester hybrid, or are you going with maybe the RAV4 or CR-V? Let us know your thoughts down below. Now, if you're looking to buy any of those vehicles, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation and can really help you get that best price. You can find that once more in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's where we're going to leave off on this comparison. Hopefully you enjoyed watching. If you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest comparisons, car reviews, and things like this on the channel. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies. And if you're already a fan and subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support.